Okay guys, trying to keep with tradition on this knife. As much as I'm tempted to use my oven at 400 degrees for an hour to temper this knife, I'm going to try to do it the old way. I'm not going to use a torch, I'm going to use my forge. So right now I'm trying to reduce the temperature of this forge by stirring a bunch of new coal and stuff in here and stirring up the coke. And then I'm going to turn the air blast off of it. I'm going to lay the blade on top of that coal pile and watch the color. And hopefully I can pull it out in time for nothing but straw yellow to get to the blade. If the spine is blue, that's okay, but I don't want the blade to get any more than straw yellow where the grind is. So I'm stirring this pot up here, and then I'm going to turn the air off on it. And just kind of clear all the coal away from it. Readjust the camera, and hopefully we can kind of watch what's going on here. I'm going to lay its spine down because that's the part I want to get the hottest. And then we're just going to kind of let the thing sit and watch the color and see what happens. Definitely got some heat there, but it's not crazy heat. It may act very similar to an oven. I'm going to blow just a little bit of air to it here, just to keep it nice and hot. Okay guys, well, here's our knife. And I have not tested the striker portion of it yet. I wanted to work on the blade a little bit, and you know, I'm going to have to start off pretty rough with this thing to get it where I want it. I was kind of polishing it up just a little bit first with the wire brush and some steel wool, just to kind of see where I was. And then I will start with a coarse stone. Of course, when you're starting with something like this, you're starting all over again. You know, I generally don't even carry a sharpening stone. I just carry a diamond rod because, you know, a great knife maker, Abe Elias, once told me that you sharpen your knife one time and you hone it forever. So if all I'm going to do is hone my knife, I can do that with a diamond rod. And it keeps my Pathfinder knife and my butcher knife really, really sharp, as well as my Moras. So now that we're ready to start sharpening this, we're going to have to start with a stone. And I've got my bucket of oil down here so that I can dip the knife blade in oil and just start to take strokes going both directions. Try to keep my grind angle my angle that I'm looking for to sharpen it. And I'll go about 20 strokes in each direction. Clean it off, take a look at it, maybe move on to a smoother stone or stay with the rough stone, but won't bore you with all the details of this, but I'm going to walk through it until I get to the finest stone I've got, and then I'm going to go to a diamond rod. I could have done this on a buffing wheel, sanding belt, things like that, like they do in knife shops, but I really wanted to stay with pretty much what would I have. You know, in a longer term self-reliance scenario, I might have an oven to heat treat this thing in, but then again I might not, because I might not have electricity. I know I'm going to have steel wool. I know I'm going to have sharpening utensils and things like that. That would be always part of a long-term self-reliance scenario. So I know I'm going to have that kind of stuff with me. So we'll get this thing sharpened up and we'll see how she does here. Okay guys, well, here's our completed knife. Last test to see if she'll throw sparks. I hope you guys can see that. It's throwing a mountain of them. I'm hoping that's showing up on camera. I assume it is. So our striker works. We've got a deer leg rawhide sheath here. It's just a deer leg turned inside out and dried, sewn up the side, cut off, and then turned flapped over and dried. That's the sheath of this knife. So we've done the fingernail test for sharpness to make sure that it will shave fingernail, and it does that no problem. When I use wood to see if a knife is sharp or if it can make small shavings, things like that, I don't like to use soft woods like cottonwoods and poplars and things like that, because that's just too easy. So a resinous piece of fat wood pine like this is usually a pretty good test, and if I can get pretty fine shavings on that, then I'm going to be pretty happy, because you got a lot of resin in that. You can see it's not doing too bad, for sure. And there's a lot of resin in there. You can tell by how orange that is. So that's thick, gooey stuff to try to push through with a knife blade. And it's still doing a pretty good job of getting good curls off of that. I'd say that's definitely, I can feel the resin on there sticking to the blade, so that's definitely going to do the job. Not a bad first attempt. Fits my hand a whole lot better now. You got a little bit of knurling left on that file right there. You tuck your finger right in there for working. It's pretty comfortable. Or you can hold it back here, choke up on it for skinning and such. I'm pretty happy. This will go good with any traditional type kit. Guys, I appreciate you joining me for this series of videos on how to make a knife, how to make a hand forged knife. Like I said, this is my first attempt in a cold forge, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for me, for my school, and for my family. I'll be back with more wilderness and self-reliance long-term skills as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.